Hey, hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming Wednesday. All right, this is 11 o'clock. Normally we go from like 11 to 1, and I do either modeling or we talk hobby-related subjects or whatever. You're welcome to chat with me on the stream, and if I happen to notice the chat, because I'm usually focusing on the table, but if I notice the chat, I'll be sure to comment or reply. Appreciate all you guys that come out on my Wargaming Wednesdays. You just finished, or you, well, actually, that's not finished. Yeah, okay. Well, I just did some weathering on these tanks. What I had planned for today is not exactly what I'm going to be doing for today. I had planned to do nothing but just sit down, read my community comments for the last month, which would have been about 50 or 60 comments or whatever. We would have gone through it. It would have been pretty quick. But I just wanted you to hear my replies on stream and hear the reasoning why I reply the way I do to some of these guys. There was a few comments. It was about a week ago. There were some comments that came in through the channel that I felt needed to be vocalized, because you lose things in chat, right? You lose things in text. It's like lost in translation. And plus, with them chatting to me the way they had done, hey, Clyde, what's going on, man? Hey, what's going on with you? I'm working on a bunch of Shermans, as you can see. And we'll get into this too. I'm gonna talk about this and what I'm doing here. But I felt like I needed to address some of the comments with my jovial nature, with the direct personality and not in text, because I felt my comments would be taken out of context, or they would be taken in a negative way, and I definitely did not want that to happen, because the comments I was receiving were the person that made the comments, the persons that made these comments, a variety of different comments on a bunch of different topics, were all doing it out of love. They were all doing it trying to help, or advise. And I don't want to get on camera and say, don't advise me, I don't need any advice. Because I think we all do. I think we all need help at certain times, right? It's just in those times, I had made a decision to do it a certain way, and I got comments saying, that's not the way it's done. This is the way it's done. And I wanted to type in, I know that, but I did it this way because of X reason, right? Or this reason. And I felt like my comments would have been taken in a negative way. So I think I was going to do today, basically read those comments, let you see them, right, as an audience, let you see these comments, and then also see how I replied. I've decided not to do that. I probably should change the title of the stream because that's not what we're going to do. I'm going to do that right now. Let's see if I can change the title of the stream while it's recording. We're going to work on some Shermans. Okay, I got to reach. Hang on. Shermans everywhere. I can't spell everywhere. Okay. I guess it doesn't like that, but let's go ahead and save and see what happens. Boom. I can't read with my painting glasses on. That's part of it. I can see up close and I can see to paint, but my monitor is like way over there and I can't see that far without my normal everyday glasses. Okay, Charles says, good morning from a gray day in San Diego. Oh man, it is gray. It's raining. Okay, well, or it's just overcast. I can't do anything about that. I wish I can send you positive vibes. But speaking of the weather, I'm in Tennessee, and last week it was raining cats and dogs almost every day, and the temperature went through the floor, right? We had to have our heater on, which is weird in April. And then it stopped raining, and the temperature skyrocketed. We had to turn on our air conditioner. And then last night it got down to like 30 degrees or something, 37 degrees. And then today or over the next 4 days it's supposed to go gradually up to 80 degrees, and then it's going to start raining again. It's weird weather. I blame it on Mother Nature. And yes, this is a lot of Shermans, and we'll get into that. Okay, so let's touch on the Shermans real quick while I have you here. I think this color is done. Okay, we're moving on to Oak Brown. Okay, this is one of my last colors actually before I start doing washes. This is 2 sets of Shermans. I bought a Sherman late war platoon from Flames of War. It came with 5 M4 A3s with the, where you at? Not that one. Oh, here it is. 5 M4 A3s with the welded hull, right? Okay. And then I bought the Hit the Beach expansion, and that came with 8 M4 A1s with the cast hull, right? And that's these guys. But before I even got any of these, I bought Zvezda, about 4 of them actually, 4 Zvezda M4A2s with welded hull. The Zvezdas, I didn't realize this. There was no options. You always had to make it a 76. That was the only option out of the Zvezda kit, was the 76. Okay. With these sets, you could make them either 75s, 76s, or 105s. Plus, they came with, and you can see this pile of turrets here, they came with 2 turrets each, right? So I could make a 75 and a 76 for every one of these if I wanted to. There's more turrets over here. I don't think I could. Here, let me just piece these together. 76, 76, 76, 76, 76, 76. Yeah, I don't think I did all of them with... Oh, wait, I backed that up. Let me back up. That's not true. In my Hit the Beach set, what's it? Yeah, my Hit the Beach set only came with 3 76s. That is right. It only came with 3 76s. But I figured I really didn't need to do all these 76s because I had these Zvezda ones, and I only built one of them. So I really don't need all these 76s. I really don't. But because I had the turrets and the guns, I went ahead and made them anyway, right? It's not going to hurt anything to go ahead and make it. So I built the 76 turrets because I was probably going to need like 176 per platoon, or, you know, depending on the scenarios. So I went through all my scenario books, and I looked through all the Shermans, and for all the different battles that I play, and I play D-Day, Hedgerow, I guess they call it Beyond the Beaches, Market Garden, and Battle of the Bulge, right? That whole Western Front. I could probably go back and do Italy as well, but basically I was just looking at the scenarios in the books, you know, because you can design your own armies or whatever using Battle Group. But I wanted to kind of look at all the scenarios and see which or yeah, if there was any battles that had a lot of Shermans. Some of them had onesies and twosies all over the place, but there was this one battle that had 10 Shermans. Well, that's more than 10. Funny enough, they were all 75s, which is fine, right? I could put them. I got more than 10 75s. One of these, I think it's this one. I have to look at it. Yep. That's right. It's this one. One of these is a 105. Okay. So basically, I've got 5 1075s. No problem, right? It's all gonna work out. And then And then, I don't know, I can't multitask. I can't paint and talk at the same time. It's just weird. So I didn't need all these 76s. I would just use 10 of these hulls. I built one of, what did I build? Yeah, I built this tank and this turret. There it goes. Okay, I built that one already for the battle that I'm going to be running at NashCon, right? But then I got to thinking it shouldn't be an M4A3, right? It's going to be one of these. But that's okay. Since I'm already building them anyway, I just figured I'll just use one of these. Okay, so I kept looking, and I saw that there was a British scenario. I'll get to your comments in just a second. There was a British scenario that had 4 troops of Shermans. And I looked in the rules, and the troops can have anywhere between 3 and 4 tanks in them. But this scenario specifically said 3 tanks, right? It was supposed to have a command tank in 75, a 75, and a Firefly, right? So there was 3. So with the 4 troops, there was going to be 12 Shermans. And I said, okay, that's good. I got 12 Shermans. I don't have the Firefly per se, but I know I've got these 76s, and all I got to do is just proxy them in and say, hey guys, those are Fireflies. I got a 17-pounder, you know? And I don't think anybody would worry about it. I don't think there would be any people getting butthurt over that. Now, I did consider using some British decals on those tanks that I was going to simulate as Fireflies. But then I said, well, that would be actually inaccurate because they're actually American 76s. And if I ever did get Fireflies, then I would have to redo my 76s back to being American. So I said, nah, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to make them Americans with the stars. Okay, what do we got here? Charles said 3 to 4 days at 80 degrees. 1 to 100 scale. Yes, it is. 15 millimeter. Absolutely. 1/100 or 15 millimeter. What do we got here? Clyde says, those are some nice kits. My Shermans and Churchills are all first edition Flames of War. No real options unless you mod them yourself or buy different kits. Now, I used to have some Shermans that were, I don't know if it was first edition or what it was, but it was for Flames of War. And the body was resin, and the turret was, the turret was resin too, but the gun barrels were metal. And the machine guns were metal, if I remember right. I'm just trying to remember. It came with a few accessories on the back. But yeah, they were pretty straightforward, if I remember right. Thanks, Clyde. Okay, okay, so this is something I just got. Let me go ahead and start painting this. The only brown that I've got here are for the shovel and axe handles. That's it. So it should be pretty quick to knock those out, and then we'll start applying some decals. And once the decals are on and dry, then I'll do my final washes. Okay, so what I did was I made 4 commanders, and to me, to make it easy for me to tell who the commander is, I give him the crew member sticking his head out of the turret. What do they call it? Unbuttoned, right? So So those are my 4 commanders for those 4 British troops. But they'll also be the commanders for the 10 Americans. I don't remember how. I think the Americans are broken down into 3s as well. But there is like 3 groups of 3, and then there's one that I think is by itself. I don't think it's an FO or anything like that. But yeah, I can definitely do 12 75s. I could throw in some 76s if I need them, and I can pretend that they're I've got 3 more of these kits, the Zvezda ones. I don't think I'm going to put them together. I think I'm going to just go ahead and sell them. It's a beautiful kit. It works fine. It's just, and it's got a little bit different layout for the tools and stuff, but I don't think I want to. I think I've got enough Shermans is what I'm saying. I don't think I need to build 3 more. And I don't think I need to go out and try to get some Fireflies. That's not a lot of paint. Okay, that's good. I don't want it to be a lot. Because I add Liquitex, matte medium. I always add almost a 50%, maybe a 2 to 5. I don't know if that's odds. What is that? 40%? 40% Liquitex matte medium, and then maybe a drop of water. Okay, we need something fine. Okay. Fine wine. Okay, give me a second. I'm stirring. Okay, I learned something last night and today that I wish I had known before I had primed, but that's why I primed with a bunch of different colors. I primed these with 3 different colors. I had a Tester's OD green. I had a Hunter Specialty OD green, and I had a Vallejo OD green, and they all came out a different color. You know, you would think, well, OD green is OD green. Well, no, it's not. Get all these out of the way. They're not. And I don't know if you can really tell by looking at these. Not on this camera, probably not. But one comes out like this one. This one is much greener than this one. This one has a little bit more brown in it. I don't know if you can see with the lighting or whatever. Maybe you can. But the ones with the brown really look good. I mean, the green ones look good too, but that looks really good. And I just wish I remember which one it was. That was the problem. Okay, hold on. I gotta focus. Okay, I can't see what I'm doing. I gotta get this up close. Okay, maybe not that close. So just FYI, I just started these this morning. I primed them last night, but then this morning around 6:30 or so, I started painting them. And the first thing I did was apply to wash. I washed the OD. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't know, lighting just doesn't seem... I think this camera is getting in the way of some of my lighting for you guys. But I applied this Vallejo dark green wash to these, and it did change the color of this, but it really looks good. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, gotta get this shovel. Oh, and this sledgehammer. I already did the axe. And that's it. This guy's done. He is dead. Okay, so let's do something like this. Boom. Done. Boom. Done. I have a feeling it was the tester's OD. And the tester, I don't know if you can see this on my hand. You can't really see. I was able to get most of it washed off. That's good. But when I was priming with my testers, the nozzle was clogged, right? But I've got a bag of spare nozzles, and I whipped one of them out and plugged it in, and when I sprayed, paint went everywhere. Went all over my hands and everything. I just got so frustrated I threw it away. Because I think my spare nozzles were just a little bit smaller than the originals. Okay, done. And but it was almost out anyway. I was like, okay, well this is not gonna work, so I just trashed it. But I also feel like the Vallejo paint was very good as well. So now the Hunter Specialty one, it came out more of a... It didn't come out properly. It came out like... I don't know how to explain it. Like a super light green. It wasn't... It didn't seem like it was OD. And because of that, I just ordered last night some AK OD spray. It's not like I need it. I don't need it. But I want it so that I could test it against my other ODs. I have a feeling it's going to come out pretty good because I have an AK olive drab base right here, which I'm suspecting that the spray is going to be just like that. Or maybe I'll rephrase that. I'm hoping it is. But I like the OD that's got a little bit of brown in it. Because isn't the British label for olive drab, isn't it brown violet? They call it brown violet, we call it olive drab. I think that's right. Done. Okay, so I got my request in for a table for the convention. Waiting to hear back a reply. I told him really it was okay to be on any session. I would just prefer it to be Saturday afternoon. But if they wanted me Saturday morning or Saturday night, that'd be fine. I don't want to be Friday or Sunday. I've been to this convention probably about 10 times in the past. Friday, there's not a lot of people there. People are just showing up. They made a long journey to get there, and nobody wants to play games. They just want to find their hotel room and crash and sit at the bar and talk about wargaming. Saturday morning just means I have to get up early to get set up and everything, and I'm not really a morning person anymore. But I'll do it. That's no problem. I've done it before. I did my Quattro Bra game on a morning session, and it was super successful. Everybody loved it. Did I just hit everything right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's done, and then okay, so that's Now, will I need any of the? I won't need. I'll only need one of these for my game at NashCon. I only need one Sherman, but I'm making these for any other games like that. I think that game was a Battle of the Bulge game scenario that needed the 10 Americans Shermans, but it doesn't matter. I can design my own scenarios or whatever. Or I've even been thinking about running a campaign, and if I run a campaign, who knows how many Shermans I'll need, right? I did a German Panther 2 nights ago with camouflage and everything, and it came out pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. Okay, so I got I sent in my date for the. Am I missing something? Nope, got it. For my game session, so just waiting for approval on that. And then I also got my registration already, so that's already taken care of. And my hotel room is already taken care of, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm pretty much set. August 19th, I think. The 20th? 19th? 20th? Somewhere in there. And I have some good news. I have some really good news, actually. Okay, so you all know that I'm doing a lot of this 15mm stuff, Flames of War, Plastic Soldier Company, Old Glory. Basically, I got a lot of different models from a lot of different brands and manufacturers or whatever. And you also know that I paint commissions and sell painted models on my website. right? You all know that. And so I contacted a plastic soldier company and set up a retail, what do they call it, a trade account, so that I can start carrying their product on my store. So you're going to start to see, and I just put in a sizable order, you're going to see some Plastic Soldier Company models on my store. And I also ordered some 20 millimeter stuff because I've been toying with, because I used to have a bunch of 20 millimeter stuff for Command Decision, the original Command Decision, not the 15 millimeter Command Decision. I used to play Command Decision First Edition, and that was all 1/72. And I had a bunch of 1/72 models, and I even had some Roco stuff, and I still have a Roco M8 armored car, Greyhound. I still have a Roco, one of those. Okay. Oh, wait, nope. Machine guns. Every one of these machine guns needs to have a brown handle. I totally forgot. Okay. So I've been toying with Battlefront in 20 millimeter. But not large games like 15 millimeter. Like 15 millimeter games, I'll have, this many Shermans on the table. Well, maybe not this many, but I'll have a lot of Shermans on the table. But in 20 millimeter, I would play more like bolt action scenarios. About that size, about a platoon on the table. So you got some infantry, you got 1 or 2 tanks, a half track, an anti-tank gun, mortar team, that kind of stuff. Nothing too crazy. And I feel that I could play both games. I could play bolt action or battle group in 20 millimeter, man to man. But I'm just toying with it. I haven't really made any commitment to that. I just feel that I feel that I could field more variety of vehicles and infantry, mainly because of the cost, right? Because I'm looking at $50 for a bolt action tank, where I'm looking at like $30 for 3 plastic soldier tanks in 20 millimeter, or $10 for a 1/72, Matchbox tank. Because I used to have like a bunch of Matchbox half tracks. Now Matchbox was 1/76, but that's okay. I could find a ton of aircraft in 1/72. It's hard to find aircraft in 1/56 scale. It's also, believe it or not, hard to find aircraft in 1/100 scale. most people consign themselves to use 144, which is okay, I suppose. And so basically I'm going to be getting a discount from Plastic Soldier, which not only is World War II, but it's also Ancients and Medievals. They even have Space Rules, which I did not order. Now I thought about taking a bunch of Plastic Soldier models, Flames of War models, even bolt action models, and taking them to the convention and selling them at my table where I'm gaming, you know, but I feel dirty doing that. That's I mean, I understand have a rule book at the end of the table and anybody that wants to buy it can buy it. That's okay. I think that would be okay. But having like boxes of armies or boxes of miniatures for people to buy at my table is kind of like a scumbag maneuver. Especially when they charge for flea market tables. It's only $10, but you can set up a flea market table and sell your stuff during the game sessions. And I feel like I would be being a dick selling a bunch of miniatures and stuff at my table. And I don't want to set up a dealer's booth. I've done that in the past, and I don't go to conventions to sell things. I go to play, right? I go to play. I go to learn other rule systems to see if that's something I want to get involved in. I don't go there to just sit on my laurels in a dark corner somewhere hawking my wares. I have done that in the past. And that is something I could do as a store, but I pretty much said, no, I'm not going to do that. If I go to a convention, it's for me and not for the store. I think conventions are for gamers. Get to meet all your old friends, and have a beer with them. Play a couple of games with them. You can't do that if you're standing selling your stuff. Unless, and I've seen some people do this, they'll have a store, and then right in front of the store they'll have a table where they're running demos of a game. Like a few years ago, Warlord had a group of guys there, and then right in front of them they had a table where they were running Blood Red Skies, and it was fun, and I bought it, and then I regretted it. Because it's really only a convention game. It's not really a to me, it wasn't a game that I would enjoy playing with my friends on my table at home. Why? Because it was just too easy. Not easy to win, just the rules and everything. It was like playing checkers. You know, you don't go to a convention to play checkers. Well, somebody does probably. There's probably checkers conventions out there. And the only way I would play chess, even though I know how to play chess and I can hold my own and win games, if they were painted miniatures, then I'd play chess with terrain and not just squares. No, that's, you know, I kid. Okay, these guys are done except for the final wash, which I don't even know if I want to wash them because they look so good already. You know what I mean? Because that initial green wash, before I started detailing them, really stands out. Now, some of the items might need some wash, like some of these track pieces that I put on there. I might use a dark gray, or I want to use all these. Oiled earth, dark brown, and dark rust. The rust, definitely. There's some certain places that I want to put rust on. And the tracks, I think I want to use dark gray. At least the tracks that are not on the wheels. You know, the armored tracks. I think I want to do that. The oiled earth, I'm going to use around the bogey wheels. And then the dark brown, maybe on some of the boxes and stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, we got some more chats. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna let that dry just a second before I start slapping decals on, because it's gonna be a decal then washes. Yep, that's exactly right, Clyde. That's what I had. I had some resin. I think I still have an M5 Stewart up there. But I think that, honestly though, I think that M5 is an Old and Glory M5. Okay. Which is all metal. I just say the more brown ones are older and been out in the sun longer. Green ones are fresh off the line replacements. Exactly. You gotta have a mix, you know? Or I could take a pin vise and drill some holes in the side and say they've been punctured by the Panthers. Okay, so I'm going to... Now, I don't know if you know this, but I use a palette. And my palettes, you know, are simple plastic palettes. But I put I wrapped them in tinfoil so that when I get to the end, I just peel the tinfoil off and there's no cleaning necessary. Right? Because I used to put paint right down inside the plastic palette. And then when I was done painting, I would take the plastic palette up to the sink and I would wash all the paint out of the palette. And then I'd clean it out and reuse it. Well, now I just peel this aluminum foil off and I've got about a dozen of these. I have about a dozen of these pallets, and most of them are wrapped in tinfoil, ready to be used. And about once a month or so, I'll go through and rewrap all these. Okay. Wrong glasses. All right, now, again, all of these except for that one tank is a Flames of War tank. I only the Flames of War platoon that I bought, the 5 M4 A3s, right? These guys came with decals. Trying to open the Ziploc. Okay, so they came with decals, which I've already used some of them, right, on that tank right there. But I had gone to Skytrex and ordered three more decal sets. This is a different, it's a little different than those, right? I noticed that these don't have any tank serial numbers, and these do. So like this one, you know, it says USA and it's got its serial number on the back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which ones I want to use. Well, I definitely want to use these. Sorry, I bumped the camera. I definitely want to use these because they are, what's the word? Thinner than these. These decals, the stars, are super thick. I saw a YouTuber say that the decals were thick, and then he said, you know, they've been thick in the past, and I wonder if they're still thick. And then when he went to cut it out, he said, yep, this is still thick, and I agree with him. I think it was one of the guys from On Tabletop. He was doing a weird technique where he used hairspray to seal the model and then paint over it and then rub the hairspray off to give it a weird weathered effect. And no, I'm not ever going to do that. Okay, so let's put some water in one of my pallets here, my little tubs, and then we got big stars, medium stars, and little stars, and then we also got the stars with circles on them, and there's a lot of them. Really, I only need one of these. I think I don't want to use the circles. I know there's a time frame when you're supposed to use those, but I think it's mostly desert. And Italy, I think, up to 1943, I think. And then when you start getting into D-Day and beyond, I think it was just the star. I mean, there's a whole website that talks about the stars, the number of inches they are, which direction the arrow points, or the star points, because some of the points were forward and some of the points were up. And I think these are all mediums, the ones I was using on that. Because I think they mentioned something about a truck or a half track having this giant star on the hood and the little stars on the doors. I might have to look it up again. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that star if I focus it. I don't have autofocus turned on. I actually turned it off. But you can actually see the plastic around the star. Yeah, that big star would be too big. Medium star would be just right. Okay, we're going medium stars. Okay, where are my browns? There they are. Alrighty. Just trying to get everything ready before we start this whole process. I need to dry the decal, so I got out of the paper towel. Decal set, but I'm not gonna use it to prep the area to decal. I'll only put this on afterwards. Oh yeah, my point was the Shermans that came out of the Hit the Beach box did not have any decals included, and the Zvezda doesn't have any decals included either. Trying not to damage any of the littler decals. Okay. Did that cut? Okay. Now I used some of these decals night before last when I was doing the Panther, and they went on very nicely. They came off of their paper very fast, and not fast, like with ease, I should say. They came off their paper with ease. Okay. And I'll show you that Panther here in just a minute. I'll go grab it. I'm pretty happy with it, the way it turned out. This thing, maybe scissors would be better. Or not a dull knife. Hey, that might help. Come on. There you go. Perfect. Wow. First try. Okay. Got to get it just right. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Soak up the water. Apply a little bit of pressure. Don't need a whole lot of pressure on this star because there's not a whole lot of texture that it's going on. I'm putting it on a flat surface, so there's no need to worry about that. Got another one soaking. Let me go grab my Panther and I'll show it to you. Okay, now this Panther is a Zvezda model kit. I'm going to adjust the focus here a little bit. I wish I could see. That's probably good. Yeah, let's get that turret on there. All right. You got the little German crosses. Those are the ones I did. And then I put the number 129 on there. Got the... Yeah, so this is a Zvezda kit. This is actually a snap tight model kit. There's not really that many parts to it, but I went ahead and glued it anyway. And there's a hole right there that I used part of the sprue because these kits are made to have these little flags sticking up out of their back and above so that you could label them for a game called Battle Tactic or something like that. And It it's a toy. It's a kid's toy game, right? But that flag has a little peg on the bottom of it, and you can. What I did was I cut the peg off, and I put it in the hole and trimmed it off so that it would fill the hole. Now, what day did the hedge cutter come into play? I don't know. What was the first day of the hedge cutter? You know, this thing on the Sherman. Get that out of the way. Oh, I didn't put another one in. Okay. The reason why I say that is because the scenario I'm playing is on the 8th, June 9th. I think it's June 9th. So it's a few days after D-Day, but I think the hedge cutter wasn't till much later when they were doing the hedgerow country. I could be wrong. Okay, we're going to try one of these -1s or A1s and see how easy it is to put it on there. That looks pretty flat. Both of those were, nope, that was an A1. Okay. But this is an A3. Okay, let's read a comment. It's a million miles away. Hey, Reg is here. Hi, Reg. Oh, you interviewed a vet whose job it was to paint the stars. He claimed that the only tools he had was a paintbrush and a brick. They would use the brick to guide the edge of the star. So like a stencil. If they got more paint on the vehicle than the ground, they felt they did a good job. Oh man, I've seen original vehicles marked with green stars on a white background. And Panther looks nice. Thanks, Clyde. I know there's like brown stars and green stars and red stars and, well, you know, Russians. But no, there's all different colors of stars in use. It's probably whatever paint the unit had at the time or whatever. But I think the yellow was mostly in the desert. I don't know about green ones. Oh, they probably had a background. Okay, right. Like they painted the background first and then put the star on top of it. Got it. I understand. We're getting there. These decals are working really well. I'm very pleased with the Skytrex decals. They're not expensive either. I think you get a sheet of these for like $3.50, I think is what the case is. Yeah. I think it's good. Now, I don't know if you know this. I don't think I mentioned it, but I used all the accessories from the sprues of the Shermans that came with it. So like they had tracks that were supposed to go in the front. In the back they had like bogey wheels and jerry cans and all kinds of stuff. Like on the sides of these, you can see, maybe on the side of that one, you can see it's got a tarp, canvas tarp over there. But in addition to that, I dug up my old Flames of War accessories. I have a bucket full of 15 millimeter tank accessories, and I found my accessories, and in there was a bunch of other like ammo cans, rucksacks. I got a couple of oil drums. Wait, that didn't go on straight. Let's whip that down. Okay. It's got to be perfect. Okay, that's perfect. And like rucksacks, ammo boxes, oil drums. There's a bedroll or some kind of tarp rolled up right there. Yeah, I just found all that stuff and I said, you know what? I'm just going to slap it on there. Just throw it on there, see what happens. Looks good. Makes each one of them look like they're their own unique vehicle. Oh, yeah. But on some of these turrets and some of these holes, I don't like this hole. I got tracks on the side of the hull there. There we go. There's some lighting. And some of these turrets, I put some tracks on the side of the turrets as well. So those turrets, I'm not going to be able to put stars on. That ain't going to happen. I might have to use all three of my decal sheets because I only want to use the medium stars. I don't want to use the tiny stars or the big stars. I probably could get away with using these circles. Okay, this one star doesn't want to come off. Oh, wait, it's moving. Okay, it's moving. Yeah. I don't know. Was there really a whole lot of draftees in World War II? I thought that was a Vietnam thing. But I don't know. I don't keep track of any of that. All right, moving on. Next star. I should clean that water because it looks a little milky. You know what? I decided I'm going to clean the water. And I think it's milky because I think the brush I was using or am using had a little bit of that brush soap on it. So it made that water look soapy. Let's get some new water. And hopefully it doesn't look soapy. Yep, there's still a little bit of soap coming off of this brush. Oh, goodness. That's what I get. It's alright. The soap's not going to affect the decal in any way. Ooh, it's coming off already. Alrighty. That looked good. There was something I was going to talk about. Yeah, I've got my. Yeah. I've got a new series that a lot of you probably have already been watching. The What's in the Box series. I've got a couple more that I recorded last night that I still have to upload. They are Plastic Soldier Company 250 New, which is the the squared off recon half track, and the truck, the German medium truck. The German medium truck is not just a medium truck. I was kind of shocked. The medium truck has not only the Opel Blitz in it, but it also has the Mercedes medium truck. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But that's not what shocked me. what shocked me was this box set included all the parts to do 5 trucks, right? Okay. Which, that's exactly what I thought it would have. I thought it would have Opel Blitzes. But no, it has the body and everything to do a Mercedes as well. But it also had the chassis to do a Maltier. I was like, wow. And you get enough parts that you could almost, I mean, it's very close to being able to assemble 2 trucks out of each sprue, because you got the truck parts and the Maltier parts, and if there was only a couple more wheels, I could have probably done it. And I'm sure I could order some wheels somewhere. I just don't want to do that. Don't want to bother. I don't think I'm gonna have enough stars. I thought I was gonna have enough stars. I think I might have to dip into the circles, which will be okay. I don't mind. I saw a couple of tanks that had the circle on the engine plate on the back. Well, guess what? I put too much junk back there. I can't do that. Oh, goodness. There might be enough stars, because on some of these, like I said, I won't be able to put stars on the turrets. Because of the extra gear. Now, I did consider this. I actually slept on it. I was going to do sandbags for a couple of these tanks. I thought about, I'm just going to do some milliput and make some of my own sandbags and just put them on the front of the tanks, on the front slope. And then I talked myself out of it. I was like, why bother? The tanks come with treads to be specifically placed there. So why don't I just use the stuff that it comes with? Now, Plastic Soldier Company has some M4s with wet storage, which is basically sandbags. Oh, wait, what? Star, lay down. There you go. There's something called dry and wet. And I'm not sure exactly why it's dry and wet, but it seems like dry was the early war armor design, the way they put it on, and then wet was like a later war way they put it on. Oh, another thing. Oh, yeah. Because we're talking about Shermans. So, like I said, I made all these turrets, right? But you can see that there's a couple of turrets that lay flat because they don't have the pin. There's 3 turrets, I think, these 3, that don't have a pin. But that doesn't stop me from just putting it on the tank, and it works. It functions with no problem at all. But the Flames of War website had an example of a turret with no pin. What they did was they put a magnet in that little hole. They specifically made them this way on purpose, where you could put a magnet down inside there, and then you could put a magnet up inside there, and when you sat it on there, it would just go click, and then it would be in place, and then you could turn it on the magnet. I thought that was a genius move, but I didn't read that article because I've got a bunch of magnets. I could have just done that. But I didn't read that article until after I had already put these pegs in there. And I didn't want to go through and dig them all out to put magnets or whatever. And I don't want to put a magnet on inside there because that'll prevent one of these pegs from fitting down inside that hole, right? And making the turret, But these turrets, luckily, they fit pretty much right on top of those little raised divots or whatever. I guess I could make my own pegs. I'm not doing that. I ain't all about that. I think it's time for lunch. Okay, I got sidetracked here in just a second ago. I was talking about my videos. Well, I got those 2 videos coming out for the Plastic Soldier Company, but I'm gonna have like 20 more of those videos coming out when I get my Plastic Soldier Company order in. So I'm gonna put up a bunch of videos. But I also mentioned to them, now that I'm one of their retailers, I mentioned I'm going to be going to this convention, and I asked if they could provide convention support. Like swag or whatever. I still haven't gotten a word back from that. That was just last night, 2 nights ago. So I'm still just waiting for Anita to get back with me on that. Hopefully they will. Because that'd be great. Like if they have a box set or something to give to the winner, or a rule book or something, that would just be cool. That would be very cool. I told them what scenario I was running and what scale I was doing it in, and we'll see. If I don't get anything, that's fine too. There's no, they're not obligated. And finally, I've got a fairly new series, probably new since the last time I was, last Wednesday. I have the boot camps going up, right? I've got the Battle Group Boot Camp, which is the tutorial of how to play the game. And it's a blow by blow. I mean, it's pretty much every rule. If you watch the series, you will know everything about Battle Group. I am planning on doing the rule book first, but towards the end, I have to put in some campaign special rules. So I think I'm going to do the rule book first and then expand upon that with campaign books. And not focusing on the army lists or the scenarios, but the special rules that come in those books, because they have released a few rules that are only in the campaign books. And I've got like three or four videos already out. Up right now. I've got the introduction to Battle Group. I've got the turn and orders for Battle Group, and I have the movement rules. The next one is going to be shooting, and I think I'm going to break it down into 2 videos because the rulebook breaks it down into 2 sections. You've got suppressive fire, which is a whole chapter, and then they've got aimed fire, which is a whole chapter. And that doesn't even count like calling for artillery. That's a whole nother chapter. And then airstrikes. That's a whole nother chapter. So but see, these chapters are only like 2 pages. They're perfect bite-sized chapters for these videos, so I don't get super long-winded and take hours on end to explain these rules. We're getting there. I've got most of the front stars on. Now, I should have a couple orders coming in today, but there's nothing special coming in. I don't have anything. It's like glue and paint and stuff like that. It's nothing. It's no big deal. It's not like miniatures or terrain or anything. Now, I thought about pairing up turrets with tanks and figuring out which one goes with which, but I don't care. I really don't care. Some of these 76s are A3s, and some of them are A1s. Like this one. I thought about writing them on the bottom of the turret so I would know which hull it goes with. But I heard, or at least I do believe, that some of the A1 turrets were on the A3 hull, like either due to battlefield replacements or, you know, fixes or whatever. So I don't see why I can't just swap them. And then I noticed that the A375s have an extra hatch where the A175s don't. They've only got that one hatch on the top. Yeah. So it matters like where you plug them in. But I don't think any player in a game is going to, you know, nitpick that. I'm the one nitpicking it because it's my personal collection and I'm anal that way. You know, I want my A3s to look like A3s. But if I have an A1 turret on an A3 body, I don't think anybody's going to freak out about it. And if they do freak out, is that somebody I really want to play with? You know, I'm sitting there and the guy brings a Panther and it's an A model and he says it's a, you know, hey, I spent points on a G model. I'll be like, okay. Okay, it's a G. I don't care. It's not an A. I mean, that's obviously not an A or not a G, but that's okay. Now, if you brought a Panther and said it was a Panzer IV, friendly game, learning the rules, sure, but once we get past that, no. Drink. Now I'm trying to decide how I want to do the turrets. Monster Chaos. Pretty good. It's kind of like a... It says peach. Orange and peach. But I don't... And apple. It's a mixture. It's a blend. It's good. Let's just say that. Yeah, one more. I'm going to put it on this Zvezda tank. I was trying to hold off on actually putting a decal on that one, but I'm going to do it. Now, I noticed that some of the tanks had stars on the side of the hull, and others had decals on the side of the turret. I don't know. And just one star in the front is probably all I need, you know, to make it look like, you know, make it look good, but I can't leave it at that because I'm anal as hell. Okay, so the commanders definitely are going to get stars on their turrets, but maybe the rest of them get the smaller star. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. I was going to say I could cut that star out of the inside of these circles. And it would be like a small medium. But I don't want to do that. Okay. Okay, I am gonna Google it because I am anal about it. And I can't read with these glasses. Alright, and before we look that up, I better put this star on here. Because it's soaking and I wouldn't want anything to happen to it. Yep, okay, that one's good. Alright, I switched my glasses. Regimental insignia. Names on vehicles. Okay, so that M8 has a star like, it's got to be one of those, it's got to be a large star. It's super large. Okay. Okay, motorcycle, car, jeep, command car, weapons carrier. And this is in inches. Okay, good. Medium tank. Okay, it says it's different. It says the engine deck of the M3. Hold on. Sherman tank. Here we go. Turret. Engine deck. Glacius. Okay. It is larger. Okay. So the turret one is actually only a 20-inch. Where the one on the front is a 25-inch. Okay, so the turret one is supposed to be smaller. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to put a smaller one on there. And then there's the 60-inch one on the engine deck. So if I wanted to use the giant one, I could put that on the back, but it's all full of junk, so there's no way I'm going to do that. In 44, the Air Force, no, the U.S., yeah, the Marine Corps and the Air Force could create their own. Really? Okay. Is there something bigger than the 25? Oh, the M8 armor car. Yep, it had a 36 on the front. No, that's the back. It had a 15 on the front. I'm confused. The M3. M3 medium, isn't that the Lee? The Grant? The Jeep had a 15 on the front. Okay, sorry. Getting distracted. All right, close that shit. All right. Put the chat back. Okay, what do we got over here? We got some chatting, and it says, well, that would be painful. I've seen the original vehicles. Panther looks nice. Okay, I read all those. These vehicles were painted by right? Read that. Okay, actually, at one point, you couldn't enlist. You could volunteer for the... Okay. Opel equals General Motors. Ford also built a load of trucks for the Germans. Oh, yeah. Sandbags. Comfortable, actually. Unless they were there for a long time and they hardened up. Oh, sleeping on empty. Actually, sandbags aren't bad. Unless they get really hard like concrete, then they're pain in the butt. Okay, so I don't need any more medium stars. I'm gonna put all of these back in the Zippo lock, right, for use in another day. So, like maybe on a M8 armored car or something. I still got so many more vehicles to get and put together. This hobby is gonna, this project, if I just go World War II project alone and not the specific battle, take me forever. But I pretty much focus on, I kind of weird this way. I focus on airborne battles the most. It could be British or American, it doesn't matter. Like Pegasus Bridge or Bastogne or whatever. As long as it's got like an airborne unit involved. Okay. One row, maybe not, maybe 2 rows should be enough to do all the turrets. But I could be wrong. I'm not doing math, I'm just cutting them out. And we're going to do 2 at a time. These 2 in there. Now hopefully these are 2 different decals and not one big decal sheet. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, I changed or I added a different blanket onto my table to make it look more, basically, so it looks more generic, I guess is the word I'm looking for, because I have a tarp on there right now that's painted, but there are rivers and roads on there, where the blanket I've got on there now is just splotches all over the place. So my terrain boards, I still have a little work that needs to be done on those. They're not ready. Mainly the river and some of the slopes and the farm, the Lafir farm, right, needs to be finished. And once those are done, then those terrain boards are finished, ready to go. But I don't have to worry about it right away because the game's not till August, you know. Okay. So we're going to put some stars on this guy. Okay, decals are moving. Oh yeah, and the driver, he definitely needs to be washed because there's no wash on him at all. The driver, what am I talking about? The commander. That's what I meant. That's good. Okay. So there's one done. Just needs a wash and it needs a decal set. Should be done. This guy looks good. Yeah, that should be this turret. And it doesn't matter where I put the turrets because, like I said, I can just move them around, you know, between tanks later. And I didn't apply any camouflage stripes or anything like that to any of these tanks. I think the majority of the Sherman tanks were not camouflaged. I think there were a few of them out there that were. It's probably unit specific, or I don't even know. It wasn't like the Germans, you know, they had like everybody was camouflaged. Yeah, the British and the Americans, I don't think really did camouflage. That wasn't their thing. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, and the on these decals, the plastic edging around the star disappears, vanishes. Unlike the Flames of War stars, those suckers, they're so thick. Wish I had waited. Aha, I guess I could do it this way. No, that's not working. Now, I know some of you are wanting to see some 28mm stuff. Well, one of my what's in the boxes coming up, I meant to do it last week, but I kept putting it off. I've got it ready to go. It's actually right here. It's the U.S. Airborne Starter Army. And it's got all this in the box, but I wanted to show it off, exactly what you get. A lot of you probably already know what's in there, and also I already know what's in there, but there are people out there that don't know, and that's what those videos are for. It's for the people out there, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, somebody says, man, I want to get this box set, but I just don't know what actually you get inside that box. And that's what the What's in the Box series is about. It's about sharing knowledge, telling you exactly what you get for your money. Yeah, Clyde. These are Flames of War models, but it's not for the game Flames of War. Um, I have read. I've got the current edition, I guess. It came in the Hit the Beach, right? It seems like nothing's really changed. It's still more of a tournament game than anything else. And I'm not into that type of play style. I'm more of a scenario play style. Now, I understand they've got campaign books and they've got scenarios and stuff, which is good. And that's exactly, that's what I like. Um, and the rules seem to be okay. I mean, they seem to be all right. But that's not what I'm playing. I'm playing Battle Group. Uh, I feel that Battle Group is easier. For one thing, it's not. There's not a million different rules that you have to deal with for every situation, which can be good. That don't get me wrong. That sometimes that can be good because sometimes, you just got to have a rule. But it's got a few concepts in it that are not shared by Flames of War or Command Decision. It's a unique rule set. Now there is something I've been toying with Battle Group. It's part of the Command and Control. The way Battle Group works in Command and Control is your you decide amongst your players how big the game is going to be. That's normal in every game, right? You say, hey, let's play 1,000 points, or let's play 500 points, or whatever the situation is. Now, once you've determined how big the game is in points, that tells you how many dice you get to roll for your orders. The more points, the more dice. Now, when you build your army by spending points, you have the option to buy officers. Officers add to your dice. So, like, let's say you got a platoon on the table, and it's got 3 squads and 1 platoon leader, the officer. Well, you would roll 2 dice and add 1 for the officer. So you could roll a 3, 2 ones and a +1, or you could roll a 13, which is a 12 +1. And that tells you how many units you get to move and act with on your turn. So if you roll really low, you move very little, you move a couple of squads. Where if you roll very high, you can move all your stuff, and you might even have leftover points that you can't do anything with. I like that. You don't know if you get to move everything or not every turn. I like that part of it. But I don't like, and this is what I was toying with, I don't like the you go, I go. Right? We've all played games like that. What, Warhammer was like that, if I remember. I go, you go. And I've heard that there are armies out there that you can win on turn 1. Right? You can just go, okay, it's I go, and you don't get to go because your army's wiped out. And I don't like that. Well, first of all, that's probably not going to happen in a World War II scenario. ever, but it lends to that possibility. And now Bolt Action does something really good that I have always admired. They have a dice pool that you put in a hidden bag, and then you draw from it, and depending on if it's your die or if it's your opponent's die, that determines who gets to go, but he only goes with one unit, right? So like I draw a die and it's my die, so I get to move one of my squads or my tank or my officer or whatever. I really like that because then you draw another die. It might be you again, or it might be your opponent. And your opponent might go 2 or 3 times in a row, or whatever. So that's kind of a hidden element to the game, you know, like an uncertainty. But the problem with Bolt Action is everybody gets to go every turn. So, which there's nothing wrong with that type of rules. It's just that I think I want to try a combination of the two. I think I want to try, and this is what I've been thinking, both sides, because it's not a you go, I go, it's a we go. So both sides roll dice to see how many orders they get, and then I put that many dice in the bag. And then you pull the dice. If you roll high, you're going to get more dice in the bag, and if you roll low, you're going to get less dice in the bag. And that changes every turn because you're going to roll your dice, add your officer. That's how many dice you get. Put them in the bag, draw it. That way, it's not a you go, I go, but it's like a maybe I go twice. Maybe you go, you know. But I don't know if that would slow the game down because Battle Group's a very fast-paced game. I don't know if that would slow it down to the point where it won't have the same feel. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I also thought about suppressive fire, how it's actually limited to the same range as the weapon's direct fire. I thought about changing that, like doubling it. Because I was in the military. A lot of you probably were in the military. Marksmanship when shooting at an individual probably did not happen at more than a few hundred yards ever. But if you're shooting at a area like a wood line or you're just trying to suppress the opponent, you're an anti-tank gun or something, you would shoot a lot further than you could aim. You know what I'm saying? But then I thought about it, and I understand that would change the dynamic of the game, and I don't know if that would add any realism, because battlefields are not supposed to be flat tabletops. But I know that I was in a couple of situations where we would shoot very far to keep someone's heads down. But I don't know if they did that in World War II. I suspect they did, but I could be wrong. So I think I'm just going to leave those rules the same. I'm not going to rewrite them. Maybe after I've played 10 or 20 games, I might step in at that point and say, yeah, this needs to change. Yeah, I don't have any problem making house rules. I don't have any problem at all making house rules. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get all these decals done by 1 o'clock, guys. I was hoping I would get them done so that I could start watching. Yeah, it's already after 1. Well, that turret's not going to have any star on it. That turret's not going to have any stars on it. Because of the sandbags. That turret's not going to have any stars on it. Okay, but all of these could have stars on them. And I will put stars on them. Alright guys, so we're just going to end the video here. Thank you for coming out and watching me work on these Shermans. I should have them finished by this evening. And also this evening I will be filming the start of the shooting rules in Battle Group. I think it goes suppression then aimed, but I am going in order in the book. So like the introduction, turns and orders, movement, and now shooting. And I think it's suppressive fire is the first chapter, and then the next chapter is aimed fire. I think I could probably film both of those tonight and then upload those separately. Obviously edit them and upload them separately, but I think I can get the filming done tonight. And that was one reason why I made sure that I put together and painted this panther, because I wanted to use it in my shooting analogy or my shooting display, because not only do I talk about the rules, which pretty much is just me reading the rules out loud, but I also like to have demonstrative aids on the table. And that's one reason why I switched out the blanket, so that it wouldn't look so cluttered. And then I can say, well, see, if this guy is here, then this is what happens. And if this hedge is there and this wall is there and this tank is in this position, this is what happens. And I can move it around and give you a visual aid of what actually the rules look like. So I should be able to do that tonight. I think I can film both aimed and suppression. Probably not artillery. That'll probably have to be another night. But I'm trying to get these out twice a week, and then suspect about 8 or 9 videos to be the main rule book, and then maybe one more video per campaign book. And I'll probably start with D-Day, and then I'll do Beyond the Beaches, and then I'll do Market Garden, and then I'll do Vlak am Rhein. Yep. As in a historical timeline. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and watching this video. I'm going to go eat some lunch. I'm going to finish these stars, and I'll see you in the next one. Reading the chat real quick. Don't like the I go, you go. Yeah, I don't like that either. That's one reason why I fell in love with bolt action. All right, Clyde. Cheers to you too.